I'm going to read the introduction right now to the clarification of terms of A Course in Miracles. This is one of the most fascinating parts of the Course. It's like one page here. Basically, just one page. In one page, Jesus says a lot that helps, I think really helps to clarify what we're talking about. And this is something that I think all course students would be, it would be good for them to keep it in mind. I'm not going to say they should, because there's no coercion in love, right? Love does not force or coerce. I would just say that this is something good to keep in mind because this helps to explain or clarify what it is, what the course is. So let's read this. This is not a course in philosophical speculation, nor is it concerned with precise terminology. It is concerned only with atonement or the correction of perception. The means of the atonement is forgiveness. The structure of, quote, individual consciousness, unquote, is essentially irrelevant because it is a concept representing the, quote, original error, unquote, or the, quote, original sin, unquote. To study the error itself does not lead to correction if you are indeed to succeed in overlooking the error. And it is just this process of overlooking at which the Course aims. All terms are potentially controversial, and those who seek controversy will find it. Yet those who seek clarification will find it as well. They must, however, be willing to overlook controversy, recognizing that it is a defense against truth in the form of a delaying maneuver. Theological considerations as such are necessarily controversial, since they depend on belief and can therefore be accepted or rejected. A universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. It is this experience toward which the Course is directed. Here alone consistency becomes possible because here alone uncertainty ends. This Course remains within the ego framework where it is needed. It is not concerned with what is beyond all error because it is planned only to set the direction towards it. Therefore, it uses words which are symbolic and cannot express what lies beyond symbols. It is merely the ego that questions because it is only the ego that doubts. The Course merely gives another answer once a question has been raised. However, this answer does not attempt to resort to inventiveness or ingenuity. These are attributes of the ego. The Course is simple. It has one function and one goal. Only in that does it remain wholly consistent because only that can be consistent. The ego will demand many answers that this Course does not give. It does not recognize as questions the mere form of a question to which an answer is impossible. The ego may ask, quote, how did the impossible occur, unquote? To what did the impossible happen, unquote? And may ask this in many forms. Yet there is no answer, only an experience. Seek only this, and do not let theology delay you. You will notice that the emphasis on structural issues in the Course is brief and early. Afterwards and soon it drops away to make way for the central teaching. Since you have asked for clarification, however, these are some of the terms that are used. So Helen must have asked for some clarification, or maybe Helen and Bill, and maybe course students were asking for some of the terminology of the Course to be clarified. And so Jesus obliged, right? But not without this caveat at the beginning. And we're going to read it again here in a moment so we get clear about it. But this is, I think, one of the most important things that Jesus says in the whole Course, because it takes a meta view of what he's doing. And he tries to explain look, don't take the symbols so seriously. You're making a mistake. And he even says, basically, if you read between the lines here, he kind of says it directly, but you kind of have to read between the lines. The Course is not wholly consistent. At least it's not going to satisfy everyone. People are going to have a lot of questions and a lot of doubts. But that's why, on some level, it's just you got to do it and see the fruits of it. And when you see the fruits, you will know that it's true. Do not let theology delay you. Theology is, like he says, subject to belief, and when you listen to debates, especially when you listen to theological debates, they're endless, right? Go on YouTube, listen to some debates. You listen to one guy, or a guy or woman, right? And you're like, wow, that's brilliant. And how is the other person gonna respond to this? And you may be like, that's airtight. It's an airtight argument. Then the other person talks, and they completely demolish the first argument, right? And then the other guy comes back and demolishes the demolisher, and so it goes until you end up, and you may feel like, okay, well, that person won the debate, right? They did a better job, but you may not. But just because one person may have won the debate does not mean that the question of the debate is not still open to question. And no theological debate has an end. It does not have an end. It will be question upon question upon question. It will never end. And that's why, the Course is practical, right? It's not just theoretical. If it was just theoretical, we'd be lost. But because there's a practical aspect to it, the practical aspect brings the truth of it home to us. And in the end, it doesn't even matter what you believe. It's whether you feel the effects of being kind to another and seeing another as yourself. And if you see that is what brings joy, what brings peace, what brings you back to that happy place for you and your brother, when you see that, you know it's true. No amount of theological speculation or theory is going to help. This is not a course in philosophical speculation or theological, right? Nor is it concerned with precise terminology. So Jesus is not precise necessarily in the Course, right? Things are open in the Course, and he sometimes speaks in a very dualistic way, and sometimes he brings in the non-duality, right? So he's not completely consistent in that. It is concerned only with atonement or the correction of perception, right? Bringing your perception in line with the Holy Spirit, which is the Holy Spirit would be complete acceptance, non-judgment, beyond debate, right? The Holy Spirit is beyond debate, rising above the battleground of debate. The means of the atonement is forgiveness, which is overlooking. He's going to say that in a second. The structure of individual consciousness, quote, individual consciousness is essentially irrelevant because it is a concept representing the, quote, original error, unquote, or the, quote, original sin. Now, what is the original error or the original sin? It's in quotes, right? It's not, he does not say original sin. He puts it in quotes. Why does he put it in quotes? Why is it in quotes? Because we'd have to look at the original. Maybe we can look at the original here. I don't think we have I don't think I have the original. But what is the original sin for A Course in Miracles? It's the tiny mad idea, right? which never really happened, right? Nothing really happened. The seeming separation never happened. That's the atonement principle, is that we have never been separate from God. That's impossible, right? But that's why original sin is in quotes. The Course does not give any credence to the idea of sin. It does give credence to the idea of a mistake, just in the sense that a mistake can be corrected. Sin cannot be corrected. A mistake can be corrected. So the tiny mad idea of separation, which took root, that idea can be corrected in our minds, and that would be the atonement principle that brings the correction, right? And that is the job of the Holy Spirit to bring that to our awareness, and for us to connect to the Holy Spirit within ourselves, which reminds us that there is no separation and there is no need to attack. There is no need for judgment. There is only a great need for acceptance of our brother and overlooking anything that our brother does that seems to be outrageous or attacking us. To study the error itself does not lead to correction, if you are indeed to succeed in overlooking the error. And it's just this process of overlooking at which the Course aims. So in other words, whenever you focus on the error and you focus on these theological and philosophical things, you're engaging in a form of attack and making the error real, because you are engaging in egoic. Basically, why are you engaging in the theology or the philosophy to begin with? Because you have doubts, right? And that's egoic. So rather than engage in the philosophical or theological speculation, go directly to the problem, to the source of the problem. And the source of the problem is that you think that the separation is real, and you're making it real in your mind. All terms are potentially controversial, and those who seek controversy will find it. Yet those who seek clarification will find it as well. Right? So if you want controversy, you will find it. You will get that. And that is readily available. But if you want clarification, you will find that as well. And so if you want clarification more than the controversy is of the ego. Clarification is the Holy Spirit, right? If you want the clarification, then focus on the clarification, and you will have that. They must, however, be willing to overlook controversy, recognizing that it is a defense against truth in the form of a delaying maneuver. Again, delay. Why are you delaying? Because you're scared. But if you ask for help, the help will come, and the help will take away the fear, and it will remove the doubts. Theological considerations as such are necessarily controversial, since they depend on belief and can therefore be accepted or rejected. A universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. It is the experience toward which the Course is directed. So the Course is aiming at a universal experience, not a universal theology. It's aiming at the direct experience of God, right? It cannot show you what that is. That is for you to find out when you remove the interference. And part of the interference is getting caught up in controversy and theological and philosophical speculation. Now, this is different than religions or cults that say, no, don't read anything. Don't read any books. Don't have doubts. It's not saying that. this is trying to bring clarity to the situation. People that find A Course in Miracles generally are people that have gone through a lot of reading and a lot of questioning and a lot of doubts already. So, and they're ready to be free of all that. This course here, okay, it is this experience towards which the course is directed. Here alone consistency becomes possible, because here alone uncertainty ends. So that oneness at which the course is directed, that experience of oneness, will remove all doubts. You will know, you will be in the realm of knowledge, not in the realm of doubt and perception, but you will have attained the world of knowledge, which is God's realm, which is the oneness, the one love. This course remains within the ego framework where it is needed. It is not concerned with what is beyond all error, because it is planned only to set the direction towards it. Right? The course cannot tell you what love is, cannot tell you what God is. It can only help you remove the interference. But in so doing, it's directing you toward the experience. And it is within the ego framework, right? It's still in the ego framework, because we're reading the course and we think we're separate. We're separate beings reading this course, looking to the course for answers. Therefore, it uses words which are symbolic and cannot express what lies beyond symbols. It is merely the ego that questions, because it is only the ego that doubts. Words are in the way. Words are symbols. Words can be misinterpreted. And words are, even the words of the course. People fight over what the course means. And there's that great story of the two course students that were fighting, right? And over the meaning of a passage in the course. And Bill Thetford walked in the room, and they asked him, "You of all people should know what this means. Tell us, who's right?" And Bill said, I think you should probably just tear that page out. Tear that page of the course out if you're going to fight over it, because it doesn't matter, right? The course is saying the same thing over and over again anyway. If you tear out a page, it doesn't matter, because, it does matter in a sense, but it doesn't matter in the ultimate sense, because the course is really all about, it begins and ends with nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. And there is no order of difficulty in miracles. Those three lines alone are sufficient. But most people don't understand what those lines mean, so they need more to help to explain it. But it is merely the ego that questions, because it is only the ego that doubts. The course merely gives another answer once a question has been raised. However, this answer does not attempt to resort to inventiveness or ingenuity. These are attributes of the ego. The course is simple. This is in italics. The course is simple. It has one function and one goal. Only in that does it remain wholly consistent, because only that can be consistent. The course is simple. The course simply repeats the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Right? We are not separate. We've never been separate. God is one. God has never changed, and because God has never changed, we have never changed. Right? This is the atonement principle, and it's there to either be accepted or rejected. When we engage in questions and doubts and philosophical and theological speculation, we are basically not in acceptance of the atonement principle. We are not in acceptance. And that's okay. That's okay. That's not bad. That's not sinful. That's not evil. That's just because we haven't removed the interference yet. We haven't removed the fear yet. The ego will demand many answers that this course does not give, does not recognize as questions the mere form of a question to which an answer is impossible. The ego may ask, how did the impossible occur? How did the impossible occur? So where did the tiny mad idea come from? Right? How did this world, if only God is real, then why does this world seem so real? If the world is an illusion, why does the world seem so real? Tell me. To what did the impossible happen? So why do I seem to be a separate individual? If that is not true, if I'm not separate, and I'm really not this body and not this ego personality, then why does it seem that I am? Tell me. For God's sake, will someone tell me? And you can ask this question in many forms. Yet there is no answer, only an experience. Seek only this, and do not let theology delay you. You will notice that the emphasis on structural issues in the course is brief and early. So in the first few chapters of the course, Jesus talks about these different distinctions, like between creation and making, between form and content, between knowledge and perception, etc., etc. Holy Spirit, what is the Holy Spirit? What is the ego? All these things are brought up early in the course, right? And that's why it's helpful to read the course from the beginning. If you want to understand what the course is saying, it really is helpful to read the beginning of the course. Afterwards and soon, it drops away to make way for the central teaching. Since you have asked for clarification, however, these are some of the terms that are used. So then it talks about mind, spirit, the ego, the miracle, forgiveness, the face of Christ, true perception, knowledge, Jesus, Christ, the Holy Spirit. 6 different things it gives clarification about. And I've already actually done videos for those things. I've read those things. I think the introduction here is crucial, and that's why I'm bringing it in again. Is that there is no end to debate. Ultimately, it will come down to the practice, making the choice, doing the practice, and having the trust. Right? That's what it will come down to. If you want to be established in that stable, peaceful state of mind, right, where you are the captain of the ship of your life, and you are not being the victim in any respect, then you do the work, you do the practice, and it will all make sense. Otherwise, you will be spinning. You will keep spinning. You will keep looking for other answers. You keep asking the same old questions over and over again in different ways, and you will not get to the answer because you don't want the answer. Because if you keep looking like that, you're basically saying, I don't want the answer, because Jesus is giving the answer here. And I know that's hard to accept, and for many years I resisted that myself. But I believe that the course is presenting things in a way that someone like myself who resisted this whole Jesus thing and Christianity, it brings it to us in a way that the thinking person can understand and can accept, and not just reject out of hand. So I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to leave a comment. Tell me your thoughts, and tell me if hopefully this is helping. And we'll see you again soon. We're gonna keep doing this to bring the greater clarification and not controversy. See you soon. Thank you.